Welcome back to my channel Celeb Buzz. Please share and subscribe and press the bell icon for new updates. At 84, Ann-Margret finally tells the truth about Elvis Presley. Ann-Margret was born Ann-Margret Olsen on April 28, 1941 in Valsjöben, a small village in Jämtland County, Sweden. Ann-Margret's early years were spent in the snowy Swedish countryside. She had a simple life that was very different from the fancy world of Hollywood. In 1946, when she was just 5 years old, she and her mother moved to the United States. They went to live with her father, who had already moved to the Chicago area. Growing up in a new country, she learned quickly. She showed early signs that she was a natural performer. She went to Northwestern University, where her love for singing and acting grew stronger. It was here that her singing and dancing skills began to get serious attention. This set up her entry into the entertainment world. Her big break came in the early 1960s when famous comedian George Burns discovered her. He gave her a chance to perform in Las Vegas. Soon after, Hollywood came calling. Her first movie was Pocketful of Miracles, in 1961. This was followed by a star-making role in Bye Bye Birdie, in 1963. Her lively performance and smooth singing voice made her famous. That same year she made a hit record. This made her an even bigger rising star. Her magnetic screen presence got her roles with movie legends like Elvis Presley in Viva Las Vegas, 1964, Jack Nicholson, Steve McQueen, and John Wayne. At first, she was often cast as a lively sex symbol. But Ann-Margret worked hard to earn respect as a serious actress. Her brave performance in Carnal Knowledge, 1971, with Jack Nicholson got her an Academy Award nomination. This changed how people saw her as an actress. She followed this with another Oscar-nominated role in Tommy, 1975. This was a movie version of The Who's rock opera. She gave a wild, emotional performance that people still talk about today. Her career grew even more in the 1980s and 90s with great roles in TV movies and comedies like Grumpy Old Men, 1993. This proved her funny timing was as sharp as ever. Besides her work on screen, Ann-Margret has been a celebrated musical performer. Her smooth, expressive voice let her build a successful recording career with several albums in the 1960s and a Grammy nomination. She was a dynamic stage performer. She toured all over, headlining shows in Las Vegas and other places. She earned praise for her exciting energy and dazzling performances. Her musical skills covered jazz, pop, and rock. She kept recording and performing well into her later years. Ann-Margret's career is filled with awards. She has won 5 Golden Globe Awards and earned 2 Academy Award nominations. She got an Emmy Award for her role in Who Will Love My Children, 1983. She also got the important Screen Actors Guild Lifetime Achievement Award. This recognized her lasting impact on the arts. In 2010, she was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. This was a fitting tribute to a woman who helped define multiple eras of entertainment. Even as the years went by, Ann-Margret never slowed down or faded from the spotlight. She kept shining on the big screen well into the later stages of her career. This proved that her charm, talent, and lasting appeal went beyond decades. In 1995, she starred in the delightful romantic comedy Grumpier Old Men. This was a sequel to the beloved Grumpy Old Men. She acted alongside legendary actors Walter Matthau, Jack Lemmon, and Sophia Loren. The film became a box office hit. It showed Ann-Margret's perfect comedic timing and bright screen presence. Her role as the spirited and elegant Ariel Truax added a spark to the film. This made her a perfect match for the aging but lovable curmudgeons. In 1999, she took on a completely different kind of project. She appeared in Oliver Stone's hard-hitting sports drama, Any Given Sunday. She shared the screen with a star-studded cast that included Al Pacino, Cameron Diaz, and Jamie Foxx. Ann-Margret played Christina Pagniaxi's mother. She brought a touch of class and emotional depth to a film driven by testosterone and high stakes. Her role may have been supporting, but her presence added depth to a movie exploring power, ambition, and human weakness. Ann-Margret returned to theaters in 2004 with the action comedy, Taxi, starring Queen Latifah and Jimmy Fallon. Even though this was different from the more dramatic and romantic roles of her earlier years, her appearance in this fast-paced urban comedy showed her versatility. It proved she was willing to take creative risks. She proved that even in a comedic modern action setting, she could still command attention and bring flair to the screen. In 2006, she appeared in 2 major films that once again showed her ability to adapt. In The Breakup, a romantic comedy starring Jennifer Aniston and Vince Vaughn, Ann-Margret played a small but memorable role. This helped anchor the film's exploration of modern relationships. That same year, she charmed family audiences in The Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause. This was the 3rd movie in the popular holiday series starring Tim Allen. Her performance in this magical holiday film added a layer of warmth and nostalgia. It reminded audiences of the joy she brought in earlier musical and family films. She kept showing her commitment to storytelling with her role in the 2011 independent film, Lucky. She played the role of a quirky neighbor. Though the film did not have the reach of her earlier blockbusters, it allowed Ann-Margret to shine in a character-driven story. This confirmed her talent for playing deeply human and relatable characters even in smaller productions. Among the most artistically important and critically praised works of her later career was the 1984 television version of A Streetcar Named Desire. In this, she played the iconic role of Blanche DuBois. It was directed by John Erman. The film was based on Tennessee Williams' Pulitzer Prize-winning 1947 stage play. This is one of the most respected and emotionally complex works in American theater. Taking on a role famously played by Vivien Leigh in the 1951 film version, Ann-Margret brought her own deeply moving and emotionally layered interpretation to Blanche. She played a fragile, fading Southern belle desperately holding on to illusions of grandeur and struggling with the trauma of her past. Her performance was widely praised by critics and viewers alike. They were impressed by the vulnerability, sophistication, and raw emotion she brought to the role. The film featured a talented supporting cast including Treat Williams as Stanley Kowalski, Beverly D'Angelo as Stella, Randy Quaid as Mitch, and others. Together they created a powerful and immersive reimagining of Williams' tragic masterpiece. A Streetcar Named Desire received widespread praise, winning 4 Emmy Awards. It earned Ann-Margret a prestigious Golden Globe Award for Best Actress in a miniseries or motion picture made for television. It remains one of the most profound and defining performances of her career. In 2010, Ann-Margret once again made headlines with a powerful guest appearance in the long-running and critically acclaimed television series, Law and Order: Special Victims Unit. She played a grieving grandmother caught in a deeply emotional and morally complex storyline. She captivated audiences with her heartfelt portrayal. Her performance was praised as both haunting and deeply moving. This earned her an Emmy Award for Outstanding Guest Actress in a Drama Series. This win was not just recognition of her talent in that particular episode. It was also a tribute to her lifelong dedication to the craft of acting across various genres and platforms. Continuing to defy expectations and challenge age-related stereotypes in Hollywood, Ann-Margret returned to the silver screen in the 2017 comedy, Going in Style. It was directed by Zach Braff and starred alongside screen legends Morgan Freeman, Michael Caine, and Alan Arkin. She played Annie Santos, a feisty and flirtatious grocery clerk who captures the heart of Arkin's character. The film tells the story of 3 senior citizens who plan a bank heist after losing their pensions. It was both a critical and commercial success. Ann-Margret's performance was widely praised for its warmth, humor, and vitality. This proved once again that her charm was timeless and her talent undiminished. Her presence in the film added a delightful romantic subplot. It served as a reminder of her ability to light up the screen no matter the genre or era. Ann-Margret took on the role of stepmother to 3 children from her husband Roger Smith's previous marriage. She embraced a blended family life with compassion and dedication. Roger Smith was best known for his starring role in the television series, 77 Sunset Strip. He changed from his career in front of the camera to become Ann-Margret's devoted manager. He skillfully guided and protected her career from behind the scenes. He made sure her talents were consistently showcased to their fullest potential. Their relationship was not only a romantic partnership but also a powerful professional alliance. The couple's marriage lasted from May 8, 1967 until Roger's death on June 4, 2017. It spanned an extraordinary 50 years. This was an impressive and rare achievement in the often turbulent world of Hollywood. Their lasting union was marked by mutual respect, deep affection, and a shared sense of loyalty. Ann-Margret remained steadfast by Smith's side through his long battle with a debilitating neuromuscular disease. This gradually affected his speech and mobility in later years. Before her lasting love story with Roger Smith, Ann-Margret experienced a vibrant romantic life. This reflected her status as one of the most glamorous and sought-after women of her era. She dated singer Eddie Fisher, who had previously been married to both Debbie Reynolds and Elizabeth Taylor. This made their brief relationship the subject of media attention. Ann-Margret was also at one point briefly engaged to television producer Burt Sugarman. He was a prominent figure in the entertainment industry known for producing hit shows like The Midnight Special. However, it was her romantic connection with Elvis Presley that captured the public's imagination more than any other. Their relationship blossomed during the filming of the 1964 musical, Viva Las Vegas. In this film, their undeniable on-screen chemistry mirrored a genuine off-screen affection. Though their romance was ultimately not meant to last, it left an unforgettable impression on both stars. Ann-Margret would later speak of Presley with great fondness and respect. She often recalled his generosity, humor, and the deep bond they shared during a pivotal moment in both of their careers. Outside of her movie and romantic legacies, Ann-Margret has also been celebrated for her adventurous spirit, particularly her passion for motorcycles. In a time when few women, let alone Hollywood actresses, embraced motorcycle culture, she confidently rode a 500 cubic centimeters Triumph T100C Tiger in her 1966 film, The Swinger. This added to her reputation as a bold and fearless performer. Her enthusiasm for motorcycling extended far beyond the silver screen. She incorporated the same model motorcycle, uniquely modified with a non-standard electric starter, into her high-energy stage shows and television specials. She thrilled audiences not only with her sultry performances but also with her daring rides on stage. Her love of Triumph motorcycles caught the attention of the company itself. This led to her being prominently featured in Triumph's official advertising campaigns during the 1960s. This was a testament to her crossover appeal between entertainment and pop culture iconography. Despite her skills and experience, her love of motorcycles came with risks. In 2000, while riding in rural Minnesota, she suffered a serious accident. This resulted in 3 broken ribs and a fractured shoulder. The incident was painful and required a significant recovery period. But it did little to dampen her resilient spirit. Even in the face of injury, Ann-Margret showed her characteristic toughness and tenacity. She refused to let the accident define her or slow down her legendary career. Her lifelong passion for speed, adventure, and the open road remains one of the many dimensions that make her such a uniquely captivating and enduring figure in American entertainment history. At 84, Ann-Margret finally tells the truth about Elvis Presley. She's peeling back decades of speculation, romantic mythologies, and carefully guarded privacy to share the real story of their connection. Now in the twilight of a remarkable life and career, Ann-Margret speaks with both nostalgia and clarity about one of the most talked-about chapters of her past. This is the intense, passionate, and profoundly emotional relationship she shared with the king of rock and roll. Though their affair blossomed in the early 1960s when they were co-starring in the 1964 film Viva Las Vegas, the mystique surrounding their bond has never faded. At the time, Elvis was already an international icon. Ann-Margret, with her stunning beauty, magnetic stage presence, and sultry voice, was quickly rising to stardom. She was often being hailed as the female Elvis. What started as on-screen chemistry between two vibrant, ambitious performers quickly transformed into a deeply personal off-screen romance. This was equal parts exhilarating and heartbreaking. In her candid reflections, Ann-Margret recalls how their energies aligned effortlessly. They shared a love of music, a dedication to their craft, a fiery sense of humor, and a deep-rooted understanding of the isolating demands of fame. She speaks openly now of how Elvis made her laugh like no one else. She talks about how they danced together in private with the same electricity they shared in front of the cameras. She describes how they connected not only as lovers but as kindred spirits navigating parallel worlds of immense pressure and public scrutiny. Yet despite the intensity of their bond, their relationship was always overshadowed by Elvis's complicated obligations. This was especially his long-standing relationship with Priscilla Beaulieu, who would later become his wife. Ann-Margret now admits that she understood the limits of their romance, though it didn't make walking away any easier. She reflects on the sorrow of knowing that their love was real but unsustainable in the face of external expectations and Presley's carefully managed image. Even so, she never spoke publicly in a damaging way about him. Not during his life and not in the years following his untimely death in 1977. Her silence was not born of denial but of deep respect and affection. He was kind, he was funny, he had a soul full of music and pain, she confesses now, her voice softened by time and memory. Even decades later, Ann-Margret's eyes glisten with the weight of all that was left unsaid, all the songs that never played between them, and the what-ifs that linger in the quiet spaces of her heart. She reveals that Elvis would still send her flowers every time she opened a new show in Las Vegas, even after their romance had ended. They were always in the shape of a guitar. It was his way of saying he remembered and that some feelings never fade. She never threw them away. Now with a lifetime of perspective behind her, Ann-Margret feels free to tell her truth. Not as a scandalous revelation but as a tribute to the man she knew behind the image. The one she laughed with, cried for, and never truly forgot. At 84, she speaks not from scandal but from grace. She shares her memories of Elvis as a gift to those who loved him. And perhaps as a final love letter to a man who danced briefly but vividly through the story of her life.